Hey you guys, okay, I want you to watch this video because it's talking about the science of cymatics, which is sound made visible. So you can take the sound of anything and turn it into a picture. It makes its own picture based on its vibration. So our cells breathe and their respiration turned into pictures is magical. So look at how different cancer cells look from healthy cells just by their respiration turned into a visible picture. It's amazing. So I have a Cymatherapy device, and this video is kind of cool because it explains how that device actually works and what it's doing to your body and your cells.
Too bad we couldn't have a specific frequency for a specific illness or disease and say, if you have a kidney issue, this frequency takes care of that. If your liver's screwed up, this frequency takes care of that.
Well, there are people who have done this. One of my great mentors was a British doctor, an osteopath named Peter Guy Manners, who basically invented something called the cymatic instrument he used combination frequencies. He called them commutations. So for every particular imbalance, he would use a combination frequency of 5 different composite frequencies, and there are over 600 different combination frequencies for different organs, different systems, etc. And this machine still exists in some forms today.
It does. As a matter of fact, Jonathan, on Gaia News, John Stewart Reed shares his cymatic invention about cancer imaging cells. Watch this.
The study of cymatics, or the spontaneous geometric patterns produced by sound when it encounters water or particulate matter on a surface, was coined by Swiss researcher Hans Jenny in 1967. Jenny documented the patterns that appeared when putting sand or fluid on a metal plate that was connected to a sonic frequency oscillator. Today, acoustic physics scientist John Stewart Reed has partnered with Dr. Sungchul Ji at Rutgers University to apply cymatic imaging to identify cancer cells compared to healthy cells. The two hope to develop this technology to allow surgeons the ability to more precisely target cancerous cells when removing tumors. So what do cancer cells look like compared to healthy cells?
What we found was that the sounds of cancer cells are generally fairly skewed and, well, I would call them subjectively ugly, whereas the sounds from healthy cells, generally the sounds are harmonic, and therefore the patterns that are created, these cymatic patterns, are very symmetrical by comparison. And as the cell has a kind of respiration, it's literally making sound all of the time. So all of our cells are singing all of the time. And actually, it's really interesting to know that they're singing in the audible spectrum. So in other words, if we could hear those sounds, well, it would drive us nuts, wouldn't it? So it's probably just as well that we can't hear them. However, they are literally in the audible spectrum. And it's just a question of having specific tools that allow us to listen in to those sounds and then amplify those sounds so that we can then hear them.
That's fascinating. Fascinating.
It is really interesting. John came to a workshop of mine over 20 years ago in England, and he's just a remarkable person. And he's doing work such as, he's really advanced work based upon a lot of the work that Hans Jenny, the Swiss medical doctor, who basically photographed the different forms of how sound created form. And this is, George, I think if there's a takeaway for this whole thing, it's first and foremost that sound can create form, which is in the beginning was the word. Here's a manifestation of sound creating form. Now, getting back for a second to Peter Guy Manners, the doctor I was talking about, he called his technology cymatic therapy, which is a little bit different, where he would be using frequencies that he came up with, projecting it directly into the body for healing. It's now gotten a different name, where it's called Cymatherapy to differentiate it, but it all works together.
Now, I have used my Cymatherapy device for a lot of things, so I know that it works. It's worked for me, and I've seen other people that it's worked for as well. But of course, many people aren't familiar with cymatics and they don't understand how it works. So I think this was a good video to watch. to kind of get a better understanding of what cymatics is and how it actually works in the body, and that it is actually backed by science.